Gaurav, if you could take us through that press conference that took place a short while back, and what is it that you're learning at the moment as far as this Dastardly attack is concerned?
The latest that is coming in from this attack that's taken place, from the assassination attempt on the 45th US President Donald Trump and the Republican presidential frontrunner, an assassination attempt at Butler, Pennsylvania earlier today. Donald Trump has survived that assassination attempt, but the bullet was very, very close. It hit him on his right ear, on the top, profusely bleeding. Donald Trump was whisked away to hospital. The latest information that we now have, the Pennsylvania State Police, or the PSP, have now identified the shooter. The shooter has been identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. Now, he's been identified. Shooter Crooks killed by the Secret Service. That's the latest information that we have. Thomas Matthew Crooks has been ID'd as the suspect who shot at Donald Trump at the Pennsylvania rally. He's 20 years old. He's from Bethel Park in Pennsylvania. He hails from a locality which is barely 40 miles south of the venue of the Butler, Pennsylvania rally. An AR-15 automatic assault rifle was recovered from the scene. Crooks was apparently shot in the head as he shot repeatedly. He shot at the US presidential candidate repeatedly. That's the information that the Pennsylvania police have released just a short while back. Thomas Matthew Crooks has been ID'd as the suspect who shot at the US presidential candidate, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. A lot of other details that are slowly trickling out. Details about alleged lapses, not just by the Pennsylvania State Police, but also by the Secret Service. And over the course of the next half hour, we will talk in greater detail about how the suspect managed to get to higher ground, a single-storied building. He was on top, he was on the roof, he was seen by several eyewitnesses who actually even tried to alert the police, yet the police failed to stop him as he took a shot. He was on the right side of where the stage was when the US presidential nominee, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump came on stage. He just started speaking when repeatedly, one after the other, shots rang out, and the presidential candidate was targeted. Donald Trump was shot at a little above the right side of his ear. Had the bullet hit just a couple of inches higher, it could have been a very dangerous, God forbid, a fatal headshot. Donald Trump just about survived. Secret Service rushed onto the stage, took him down on stage. The snipers who were there, they then shot back in the direction of the fire and neutralized the suspect. The suspect was killed immediately. Donald Trump was whisked away to hospital. But there are several iconic images that have gone viral about Donald Trump raising his fists in the air as he continued to say, fight, fight, and fight. It just goes on to indicate how defiant and charged Donald Trump remains. His entire presidential campaign has been about making America great again. And here, in comparison, commentators in the United States of America are talking about the comparison between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the Democrat presidential nominee. The difference in the body language of the two. Donald Trump seems all there, extremely charged, extremely defiant in the face of an assassination attempt, continuing to fight. Even when he was taken to hospital, he released a statement and said they will continue to campaign. They will take this fight forward undeterred. The Republicans, they have their Republican National Convention at Milwaukee and in Wisconsin, and this is where Donald Trump is to be declared as the Republican presidential candidate, and he will be announcing his vice presidential candidate, and that becomes extremely critical. But are the swing states and swing voters decisively after this incident turning in favor of Donald Trump? That remains the big question. Lenka White joins us from the United States of America for more on this. Lenka White, what more do we know of this suspect who was neutralized by the Secret Service? Okay, before I come to Lenka in just a moment, Shashank Mattu joins me for more on this India Today Global's Shashank Mattu. Shashank, what more do we know of the suspect?
No, absolutely. We've just come out with the identification of the individuals. It is Thomas Crook, as you know. We know that it is a 20-year-old individual from Pennsylvania. Just a little while back, you had a joint briefing by security forces in the United States, where they, at that point in time, refused to identify the shooter in question. Right now, of course, lots of questions that will need to be answered about the person's ideological affinities, why the particular motive behind the attack. What we know, as you laid out in the beginning, were the details of how the attempted assassination took place. But in terms of what Thomas Crooks' ideology is, what his motivation for the attack was, that is something that will be under investigation. So security forces not really commenting on that at this point in time. But the longer they wait, the more this becomes a subject of political conspiracy. You're already seeing much infighting in the United States about the shooter, what the motive would have been behind this. Some, Republican senators coming out and saying that this was a direct result of President Joe Biden's rhetoric on Donald Trump. So again, in terms of motive, we don't know very much. But as you mentioned, Thomas Crook, 20 years old, from Pennsylvania. We're looking for, I think, more investigation will be needed before we know exactly what the motive was for this attack.
As we try and ascertain the motive, the police, of course, we heard the Pennsylvania State Police, we heard officials of the Federal Bureau of Investigation who've now officially taken over that investigation. And Butler, the venue of the Pennsylvania rally, remains an active crime scene. Forensics are on ground. Lenka White joins us from the United States of America, a journalist and an analyst looking at this very closely.